So, Ghost of Yotei had their deep dive yesterday. What do we think? Good, bad? In this video, I look to be going through that and giving my opinions on what I thought of the overall deep dive, the presentation, and the overall showing for Ghost of Yotei. I was gonna stream yesterday, but I fell asleep at around 5 and the missus didn't want to wake me up. Probably a good thing. I wasn't even aware that there was going to be a state of play. So it would have been a happy coincidence if it actually did happen. But, things are the way they are. So here is my reaction and my opinion to the Ghost of Yotei reveal, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. So, what did I think overall for Ghost of Yotei? Well, Ghost of Tsushima was one of my favorite games. I absolutely loved virtually everything about Tsushima, from the story to the characters to the dialogue, just combat, music, serenity. Everything about it was great. So, what did I want from a Ghost of Tsushima 2? Well, ideally, I would have preferred if they continued Jin Sakai's story, because obviously, I know the DLC kind of ended his story, but it would have been nice to see what comes next. Now, I've got nothing against Atsu, and hopefully, Yotei will be, just as good and compelling and a really good story. It's clear that they've kind of gone the route of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Nothing wrong with that. Even if their development was around the same time, it looks like the overall structure of the game will be very similar in terms of what it is. Obviously, gameplay wise, it's going to be totally different and aesthetic, but the overall structure kind of feels very similar. So, nothing wrong with that personally. I think it's okay. But I'm seeing a lot of people saying that it's more of the same, and I'm actually okay with that. I didn't want the game to change, because at the end of the day, the saying, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. God of War 2018 wasn't broke, but they tried to fix it with Ragnarok, and I think they made a mistake. I didn't enjoy Ragnarok at all. I think they added just too much to it that deviated from the original game, and instead of giving us more of what we enjoyed, they decided to add stuff that really wasn't needed in Ragnarok. So the fact that in Ghost of Yotei, they are giving you more of the same, but it looks like they're adding, nuanced changes to the overall formula rather than having big changes. They're giving you subtle changes that overall improve on the previous game. For example, in the previous game, you had to go to vendors to find out what you had. Now you're going to have like a camp page where you can kind of see what those vendors have available for you, and you can actually go and check out what you need. You're going to have like a real time snapshot of that for you, and that's really good. That sort of change is great. You're going to get more weapons, which is cool, which means there's going to be different fighting styles, enemies that can be combated with different stuff. Awesome stuff. The combat itself looked pretty much what I expect from Ghost of Tsushima. It didn't look that different from the original. So, well, I should say Yotam. I keep calling it Tsushima, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I mean. But overall, I'm really excited for it. What I saw was really, really good. The music was really good. The voice acting was really good. The graphical display was not that much of a leap from the previous one, even though the previous one was originally on the PS4, then it kind of got pushed over to the PS5. I was expecting a bit more of a graphical leap, but you can already see, even with fidelity mode, that it is, at least that's what I think was happening. They were showing fidelity mode, which was at 30 FPS locked, and it was stuttering everywhere. I mean, you could see it happening, and it wasn't great. It really wasn't. I don't think they really should have shown that. I think they should have just shown you performance mode, which generally is the quality mode on the base PS5, on the PS5 Pro, and I think they should have shown you that version. Or maybe they were showing it on the PS5 Pro and I didn't notice, and they were showing you the fidelity mode of the PS5 Pro. I just don't think it was needed. It was stuttering everywhere, and it just wasn't pleasant to see. That was probably one of the only blemishes that I actually saw in the overall experience. Now, they did add this whole, mechanic where you can choose to spare the person and choose one faction or another, and depending on what you do, gives you a different kind of buff or a skill or an unlock, I kind of wish they went down the route of Ghost of Tsushima, where you don't have to make those choices. Not every game needs to be about choices. The linearity of Ghost of Tsushima is what made it so special. And I think them trying to do this kind of thing in this game might be a detriment overall. Then you have the overall being able to switch between the younger self and the older self on the whim, as at least that's what they said, unless I misunderstood that. So that's going to add a different dynamic to the game. Is it needed? Probably not. We've already seen what happened as a child. You're probably going to get to play through some of that as well, and then you become Atsu at her older age, and you can play through it that way. So I think, you know, simplicity sometimes is the best way forward. And I think with Ghost of Yotei, they've taken the formula from Ghost of Tsushima and made some changes. Most of them are nuanced changes, like, more weapons, uh, and stuff like that to improve, like the whole HQ Bandcamp thing where you can see what you've got available on different vendors when they've got new stuff for you. So you're always in the know of when something is, available to you. So you can always stay up to date with your gear. There's also going to be what they've done in this one, NPCs that come to you during certain cutscenes that kind of force upgrades on you in integral parts to make sure you're not falling behind, which I think is great because one of the things I remember people talking about in the first game was that they kind of felt a little weak and they weren't aware that you had to upgrade your weapons or it wasn't always available. So that kind of fixes that problem as well. So giving me more of the same and giving me, nuanced benefits and improvements is the best way to go for this. Now, I know there's a discussion going around Atsu and Jin Sakai, and people wishing that Jin Sakai was there. Personally, I would have preferred a true sequel with Jin Sakai to see what was next, but I've got no problem with, having uh, Atsu in the forefront as the main protagonist. The question really is that everyone's going to be asking in Ghost of Tsushima, you got to see those butt cheeks of Jin Sakai. Will you be able to see those cheeks of Atsu? Probably not, because it's. I'll stop that there. But overall, I'm really excited for this game. I really love the original, and everything I've seen here is basically telling me we're going to give you what you enjoyed from the first game, but make subtle improvements that overall benefit the user experience to make it a better game. Now, like I said, the whole going back to the past could end up being like two different timelines. We don't really know. They didn't really specify that, but you can play them and you can switch in like in real time. So maybe there's going to be stuff that you need to do in the past, like bury something, and in the present you'll be able to find it. Stuff like that I'm expecting is probably going to be a thing. And it's a gimmick at the end of the day. Hopefully it works out and it's not overly played and overly relied upon. But yeah, I'm personally really excited for this. I am looking forward to this on October the 2nd. You're also going to get a limited edition PS5 console with this as well. It looks like the Pro is going to be available as well. It looks like they do like money because they are going to supply you with the actual shells to buy as well. So for anyone that actually wants to buy the shells to replace their current PS5 or PS5 Pro, that's going to be an option. I'm probably going to try and pick up the Gold Ghost of Yotei one because it looks pretty damn awesome. If it looks like it's available for the Pro, so that's cool. But overall, I don't really see anything wrong with it. I know a lot of people are kind of saying it's mid, it's more of the same, but there's nothing wrong with giving you more of the same with nuanced benefits. The graphics could have been a little better, but based on the performance we saw, especially with the fidelity, it probably had to be the way it was if it's aiming for a certain resolution. 30 frames per second was definitely on display. It was stuttery and it was unpleasant to look at. Hopefully, that's them showing the game in fidelity mode. And if it is, I know they were trying to showcase the graphics and overall, the beauty of it, but I think it just wasn't needed. And I think it probably, I mean, at least for me, it was a dampener on a really good experience. Now they've got additional stuff like the lo-fi music, which I really don't care about. They've got the whole traditional black and white viewing, which is awesome. So that's come back. They've got English and Japanese dubbing, depending on your preference. So that's also amazing. So yeah, I mean, I know people are comparing it to Assassin's Creed. I just don't care. The game looks really, really good from what I've seen, and I'm hoping that it's going to be a nice, rich story, preferably linear-ish like the original. I don't want it to be like all over the place and open world and stuff like that. Well, it's open world, but I'm hoping you understand what I mean. So, yeah, that's basically my thoughts on this game. October the 2nd is when it comes out. I'm super excited for this game. And, you know, what can I say? I know people are calling it mid, people are calling it trash, but seriously, I don't understand why. The game, yes, it's more of the same. Yes, it's got a female protagonist. Yes, we're probably not going to see those butt cheeks. Yes, it does kind of follow tropes from Assassin's Creed Shadows, but why does all of that matter when it's all being done to deliver a good experience? And Sucker Punch hasn't failed us yet. Ghost of Tsushima was phenomenal, and I expect Ghost of Yotei to be as well. October the 2nd is when this game launches. I'm personally going to buy this day one. I am super excited for it. Are you picking this up? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm really excited, guys. Like seriously, like Ghost of Tsushima was great. I enjoyed every minute I played of it. Even the final battle at the end was like so heart-wrenching to make that decision. I had to wait really, really long. I couldn't make that choice. And that's the testament to the storytelling and the bond you grew with, Jin Sakai. So hopefully we'll get that kind of bond and, you know, reaction with Atsu as well. And they'll deliver a compelling story and not just have something that looks nice with, good gameplay. Story is paramount. The music was phenomenal. As always, they've kind of lent on the original in terms of the main theme, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And then they've, done even more traditional music, which is great. So, it's like a whole complete love letter come together, and I'm there for it. So, hopefully, you will be too. And hopefully, this game will be good because we need some of those good PlayStation games back out, those good first party games. They've been slacking with their first party, and probably we're not going to get many more this generation. So hopefully, you know, they can get their ass into gear and start delivering more on these first party games. Ghost of Yotei almost delivers in every field, with the exception of the frame rate. I'm not sure if that was full fidelity or not. And if it wasn't, and that was performance mode and it was dropping, then it definitely needs optimization as well. But other than that, I really didn't see anything that I personally had a fault with. Good game, good graphics overall, considering all things. Music was good, voice acting was good, and it just looking at it, it just felt like Ghost. And that's what you want. You want more of the same. You want more of the same with improvements, not more of the same with radical changes. It doesn't need it. When the formula works and it's perfect, it doesn't need changing. What it needs is subtle improvements, subtle changes, like the more weapons, like the really long katana, which I can't remember the name of right now, which is good for certain, weapon types to combat. That's the type of thing that you want here. The whole HQ thing where you can see who's got upgraded gear, the whole cutscenes, forced upgrade sequences that they provide for you. These are the things that you actually want, that don't interfere with the gameplay, don't interfere with the story, but overall make your user experience better. Because when the original was so good, don't break it. You don't need to change it. You just need to improve on what's there. And I think that's exactly what they've done, barring the frame rate and of course that whole interchanging between the past and the present. Hopefully you won't need to meddle with that too much because, well, if it's like two different story timelines, I can get it. But if you constantly have to meddle between we'll see how that gimmick plays out. But the deep dive was fire. Limited editions were pretty cool, and I'm here for it. Right? Let's see what October the 2nd brings around, and hopefully the game will deliver with, firing on all cylinders. Sucker Punch hasn't failed us so far, and hopefully they don't start now. Ghost of Yotei, again, releases October the 2nd as exclusive for the time being on PlayStation 5, and, well, I can't wait to play it day one. I'm super excited. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that discussion, and I'll see you in the next one. As always, remain legend, folks.